Taylor Swift was in attendance. The Chiefs were looking for a three-peat, but it starts out quickly. Jalen Hurts, 3rd and 5. Incomplete, but we got a flag. Dan's in a good call.
I thought both the calls early were poor. The pass interference on A.J. Brown and that 3rd down, unsportsmanlike conduct, and it leads to Jalen Hurts versus man coverage, changing the play at the line of scrimmage, finding Dotson down to the 1-yard line, and then the play that we know is unstoppable, tush push for an early score.
And so if you had Jalen Hurts in the first touchdown, you were liking it. Then second quarter, it's 10-0, and this is the sequence that really defines the game. Lewis, the pressure on Mahomes on 1st and 2nd down.
Yeah, look, he could never keep his eyes down the field. As he tried to escape up into the pocket, you saw immediately his eyes were coming down. He was just trying to survive. That was something that he was never able to get comfortable with. Credit the Philadelphia Eagles pass rush, man. They were on it all night.
And that leads to this, Tedy, on the 3rd down play. It's Cooper DeJean on his birthday.
The birthday boy, rookie Cooper DeJean, reading Patrick Mahomes. Of course, the pressure forces him out the pocket. But look at Sirianni. We're fired up in Philly. DeJean, the birthday boy, with the pick 6. The route is on.
My people say thank you, Cooper.
The face says it all. And then Mahomes under pressure. Domonique deep in his own territory. He's picked again.
The story of this game, we already started out, it's about the pressure getting put in his lap. You can't deliver accurate passes like that. Great hands for a linebacker there,
That's
Tedy.
my guy, Zach Bond. You know he's going to catch that one.
Tedy's favorite player in the league. 2 plays later, the game ended. There's really no other way to say it. A.J. Brown untouched. It's 24-0. And then a critical moment, Dan. 3rd and 11. Chiefs with a chance to do something before halftime. DeAndre Hopkins might still be running if they catch this.
If this is connected, they score. DeAndre Hopkins scores, and you may have some life. Patrick outside the pocket. Him and Hop just don't see it connect the same way, and it's incomplete pass, and in that moment, you're like, oh, they're done.
You saw the reaction from Chris Jones as 24-0 at the half, and then more of the same, Rex. The pressure just getting to Mahomes.
And it was unbelievable. The most dominant unit on the field was that defensive line for Philadelphia.
Sweat had 2.5 sacks. Eagles get it back. Dan, Saquon Barkley, he did not dominate this game, but certainly was a huge factor.
Yeah, I would tell you he dominated every snap before it ever happened because the man coverage and the commitment to stopping the run was huge, and then his ability to make plays when he got the opportunity outside the pocket. Jalen Hurts finds him, and this offense did whatever they wanted.
And speaking of doing whatever they wanted, late 3rd quarter, Danny, Devontae Smith. Boom.
Just an unbelievable throw by Jalen Hurts. They double-team A.J. Brown. Look at the pocket, the play-action pass, and Jalen throws a perfect post over the top.
It was 34-0, and then to add insult to injury, or maybe injury to insult, whichever way you want to look at it, it's Mahomes back again. This is going to be the Eagles' 6th sack of the night. And on this play, Mahomes almost has his arm ripped off, gets punched in the face, and the ball comes loose. Williams with the recovery, and the celebration was on early. Look at the dancing on the Philadelphia sideline. Saquon Barkley is a Super Bowl champion. Jalen Hurts is the MVP. The Eagles win Super Bowl 59.
She looked prettier in person, I tell you that. You think about it, it's better in person than it is in Madden, I tell you that, playing as a kid. But it's everything you dream of, and I'm just happy to be able to, hold it, give it a kiss, and, be world champs.
We're going to play word play here.
My dog.
Okay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, what is he?
Dog.
Jalen Carter.
Dog.
Cooper DeJean.
Dog.
Quinyon Mitchell.
Dog.
Defense full of dogs. You're the top dog.
Dog. Dog.
And now you're a Super Bowl champion, man.
Super Bowl champ. This is unbelievable.
It's only the beginning until it's the end, and the end ain't coming anytime soon.
Okay, so put your feet up. We've got nothing but time to break down all the things that we saw last night. And Rex, when we got into a car quite early this morning, what was the first thing you said to me?
I said, there's an old football adage. When you hit the quarterback, the entire team feels it. No better example of that than last night. You saw it, man. It deflated the entire football team. You can't protect the quarterback. Every single part of it. Even your own defense feels it. So trust me, that's what this game was all about. They couldn't handle the pressure, and it was game, set, match.
And almost recognizing the pass rush plan in terms of what it was. It was Taylor the tackle. It was Tooney playing tackle. It was speed to power, press the pocket. Press the pocket, make Patrick feel the pressure quickly. He steps up right into Jalen Carter, right into the great defensive tackles, and all of a sudden, he's looking flustered. So the plan to press the pocket and just get to Patrick that way, take advantage, finally. Someone took advantage of a left guard playing left tackle.
And there's no scheme for physicality. As we're looking for answers, it's like, look, everybody in front of us is better than the guys on the other side. And they were just whooping them from beginning to end of this game. It was ugly. And we have to give some credit to the discipline of that defense. They were disciplined in their pass lanes. How many times do we see a good outside pass rush end up with Mahomes running for first down? No, they were disciplined and under control. When guys got the ball in open field, you didn't see any missed tackles from the Eagles. Like, as talented as they were, they're also smart and under control the entire game until they punched Patrick in the face of it.
Look, I went to practice to see the Chiefs on Friday, and one of the first things Andy told me was this. He said, look, we're going to need to match their physicality from play one, and it's the number one thing he was going to be watching. Well, from play one, you could see right then, they were in it. They were going to be in for it all night long, and they never had an answer for it. And look, Rex is right. As soon as the quarterback felt how much different this game was going to be, with them just rushing 4 and covering with 7, and they didn't need to send any extra rushers, he was like, well, look, this is just going to be the way this night's going to go, and they never had an answer for it.
So the two of you guys did the game for International last night, Lewis and Dan, along with Chris Fowler. So you're obviously in the vantage point of in the booth and describing it. Dan, from a quarterback's perspective, and what I'm doing here is not talking about Patrick Mahomes. I'm talking about that defense and the pressure. I've never seen Patrick Mahomes look like he looked last night. Why?
Yeah, it's the most unsettled and flustered I've ever seen Patrick look. It's the worst game I've ever seen Patrick play. The pressure that was happening forced his eyes to drop, his feet to be all over the place, and that led to uncharacteristic misses for Patrick Mahomes. Really, the second pass of the game it happened. He's got Kelsey on a little bit of an inbreaker versus that middle field open coverage. He hits this, it's a first down, and they got some rhythm offensively. It's behind Kelsey on his back hip, and it's a miss. This is a third down. He's got a little wrap in route, and he's got a spot route by Kelsey. He throws it into the dirt, and it's 3rd and 3, and it's off the field instead of a conversion. Now another opportunity to get outside the pocket. This is the one we talked about. Look at the space that DeAndre Hopkins has. It's 24-0, but if he hits that, it's 24-7. You get the ball at half. Maybe it's a different story, at least throughout the flow of the game. But it's the most flustered and unsettled and nervous. And there was a play in the game we were talking about in the broadcast where he sets to his left to throw like a quick ball and immediately starts to turn and run. And the receivers for his offense are like 2 or 3 yards downfield. And my thought was, where are you going? Why are you running away that quickly? He totally felt the pressure from Philadelphia.
Yeah, the disruption up front was the production, along with the production they were getting with sacks. But look, that's another adage in scouting. Disruption is production. It isn't always about sacks. It's about the quarterback feeling it. And Patrick Mahomes, as great as he is, he felt that disruption last night.
Yeah, absolutely, Lewis. I mean, look, rattle his cage, man. And that's what it is. He had no confidence, right, in his protection. And when that happens, you become inaccurate. You miss some throws that you've made all your life. Well, guess what? It happens. And, man, they absolutely rattled his cage.
That play right there, it's like we got to try and run screens. They're all over the screen also.
They only ran one screen in the first half, by the way, and 3 rushing attempts. That contributed
See, that was
to this
another
butt
thing
kicking,
that was shocking to me. It was very obvious early on, and we kept saying it on the broadcast, you cannot drop back to pass. You just can't. And the fact that they didn't try to run the football much, you said 3 runs
3 rushing
in the
attempts.
first half. They didn't really try to go play action. They didn't try to put 12 personnel, 2 tight ends in the field and help with some of their protection. And so you're sitting there, and if you just watch Philadelphia defensively, they all played like top down. They sat on every pass because it was going to happen so quickly, and they didn't do anything to try to get them uncomfortable Philadelphia defensively.
It was clear early in this game that Andy Reid and Matt Nagy thought they could win this game playing it a certain way, and the running game wasn't going to be a big part of it, and they just weren't going to get off of it. They felt if we can protect it long enough to where Patrick can move up in the pocket, and the interior of the pocket was sound enough to where he can then distribute the football like he has all year long, they would have a chance. Problem was, when Patrick was moving up in the pocket, he wasn't looking down the field. He was wondering, where's 98 at? Where's 93 at? Because these guys were hitting him upside the head in a way that he had never been hit before, and it just changed everything, and they never came off of that plan.
So let's try and explain, because anyone, all of us watching the game, could see the domination of it. The Chiefs have had offensive line issues all year long. We've never seen it look like this. Tedy, what specifically did the Eagles do that so thoroughly dominated that line and flustered Mahomes that way?
I think the plan that they implemented was it was one of physicality, first of all, and it was speed to power. Rex and I have talked about this a bunch, and then press in the pocket, like I said early. But, I mean, I've got to talk about Joe Thuney playing left tackle and how well he did throughout the course of this year. But right here, this play right here, okay, let me just go off on this play about this is "We Are Tired of You" hit right here, okay, by Jalen Carter. We've heard enough about you going for 3 in a row. We've heard enough about being Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. It's about Jalen Carter didn't care right there, fellas. It was about I'm going to hit you in the face, and I don't care what the ramifications are. Joe Thuney, great, probably the best left guard in football. But it's a two-person move here. Mm-hmm. Lewis was talking about this in the meeting. You're weaker now at left tackle. Then Caliendo comes in. He's the one that got beat for the strip sack that almost took Patrick Mahomes' arm off. Mm-hmm. So these were the issues that they got away with, paid for with Will Anderson, the 2 sacks he had. But the Eagles just had the front to really take advantage of the whole unit.
I have to represent my guy Jeff Saturday while I'm here.
Okay.
Run the ball. Run the ball, because a lot of the pass rush was a result of the Eagles not having the feeling that they had to settle down. If you watch the difference between both defensive lines, as you saw, the Chiefs, the reason why they stopped Saquon is they weren't really pass rushing. They were run stopping to their pass rush. The Eagles were pinning their ears back and incredibly disciplined with the way that they closed the pocket. And rather than calling actual design runs, a lot of the Chiefs' run game was RPO. And so the Eagles dictated them out of the running attack. And then you see these guys playing left tackle. You're asking Joe Thuney to play left tackle with great pass rushers in front of him with nothing to slow him down, nothing for him to think about.
There were moments when Nolan Smith would line up outside of the tackle, like me to you, on second down. He would be 4 or 5 yards outside of the offensive tackle. Clear pass rush, clear like we don't care anything about the run, and it was a straight line to run through. I mean, why do those outside rush guys to line up that wide?
I mean, it
was, and we couldn't chip. You know, there was like a clear, we're just going pass rush.
Yeah, I mean, to me, guys, they're playing the run on the way, on the way to the quarterback. Mm-hmm. They could care less. They're going to re-hour. You're going to run the ball? Okay, we'll fall into it. It was about hitting that quarterback every snap and taking advantage of the fact that you're not running the football. But, guys, this whole game was about mentality. Yeah. And when we talked about it on our show yesterday, I said, how are they going to beat these guys? They're not intimidated by these damn guys. They came in there and said, we're from Philly. We're going to knock you out. You may hit us with a jab. We're going to hit you with a left hook and knock you the heck out. That's how they played that game. We saw it when we got the strip sack and then the punch on Mahomes in the face. They could care less. You're right. It was about the mentality. We're going to out-physical you. This game's still about being physical, and they did it. The mentality of it, that was what was on display as well to me.
I think that's probably the most important point, Rex, is, look, we spend a lot of times getting into the minutia of the X's and O's about the game and about how it's about scheme, and it's about route design, and it's about numbers advantage. It's about and it is about those things. But at this time of year, you know it's still about the same thing it was back in 1960, 1970, and 1980. Yeah. It's about imposing your will against your opponent. And look, we were standing down the field, and I was with the great Charles Woodson, a former teammate of mine. He said, look, you know how you have all get off the bus teams that when they get off the bus, you go, damn, they look like they're going to be pretty good. This is a team that gets off the bus. You say that to yourself, and then the first snap you go up against them, they go, oh, they are pretty good. And they are nasty, and they play that way for 4 hours. And that game was exhausting for for Kansas City. Yeah, you can see mentally, you saw their energy meter just going like this with every single hit. It was like, we don't have a chance. We don't have a chance. We don't have. It's an exhausting game for them.
So I was trying to think of a comparison to this. The legendary quarterback off a great season having being dominated like that in the Super Bowl. I think we go back to what the Seahawks did to Peyton Manning and the Broncos, the year the Broncos had set every offensive record in the book, basically, and this game winds up 43-8. That's the game that started with that, the safety where the ball was snapped over Peyton Manning's head, and who would have thought that would have been the highlight of the game offensively for Denver. 43-8 was the final of that. That was the Legion of Boom at their very best. This felt like that, Dan. So I want to get to Jalen Hurts, and I want to get to Saquon Barkley. I want to give credit to everyone that deserves it in Philly because that was such a thorough defeat. But to me, this game was about the Eagles' defense. It was as good a defensive performance as I can remember seeing in a spot like this since that game.
It's funny because a couple weeks ago I said this. Watching this defense felt like the Legion of Boom because from my offensive perspective, they're not overly complicated scheme-wise.
Right.
Four-man rush. You're going to get cover four.
Blitz once.
So, Tedy, there was 6 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Gosh.
We're in the game. Up on the board is a next-gen stats, I believe. And it said 52% pressure rate, 0 blitzes. So as an offensive, you're sitting there going, I know what they're doing. They're not trying to confuse me. They are just physically whooping me. And that's what made Patrick unsettled. And when I look at my notes, I said, this is the worst performance I've ever seen from an Andy Reid coach football team. Outclassed, out-physicaled. There was so much drop-back pass, little protection help. There have been little 12 play action, low energy. I mean, it was 17-0. And I remember going to Lewis and going, dude, they're walking everywhere. It almost felt like they made him say, no mas. Like, we're good. There was no
thinking. There was no thinking. It was this exclamation point to where there was no magic defensive scheme or anything like that.
Sometimes you just know that the opponent is better.
You made the point
that they're bigger, faster,
Lewis,
stronger.
that we didn't get into the minutia and the X's and O's because you don't have to.
Correct.
Right.
That's something.
I'm saying sometimes we do.
Right, but
when we just need to boil it down to what it is.
They played like one front, one
X's and O's.
coverage.
They were playing basic 4s and 6s and just it's not. It sounds disrespectful to say that they're like a high school team, but I mean that in the way that they're better than everybody. They run simple stuff because the people across from them just are not as big and strong and fast as they are.
Rex.
Yeah, I just thought they got out-coached too. And Andy Reid, as great a coach as he was, that was an absolute horrendous game. And it makes sense. Guys, look, Philadelphia comes into the game. You realize they gave up more rushing yards in the season than they gave up passing yards? Mm-hmm. That's a stat. Well, what the hell are you doing running the ball 3 times? You want to slow a pass rush down? Yeah. How about you run the ball?
Yeah.
Can't get a sack on a damn running play. Your quarterback can't get hit on a running play. Like, I thought it was horrendous. How's another way? How about screens? 1 screen in the first half. So they got away from who they were. You know who did it? Philadelphia. Philly's like, I love the whole game by Sirianni. They stayed true to who they were. 4-man rush. We're going to play different coverages in the back, and we're going to put it on our dogs up front to go hunting. That's exactly what they did. And then offensively, they stayed ran the football. And you know what? We don't care. We're going to take our shots when we want. They stayed the course. Kansas City flinched.
We saw that a little bit in the divisional round when you watched how the Rams attacked Philadelphia. They ran the ball. They were very balanced. A lot of open throwing windows for Matthew Stafford, and they moved the ball at will, quite honestly, against Philadelphia. And were it not for Jalen Carter wrecking the game in the end, they may have won that football game. Kansas City kind of had an idea of how they wanted to play this game, and they weren't going to get off it. It was just that simple. They were going to say 15 is the equalizer. He'll manage the pass rush with his football IQ, and he wasn't able to. I'm telling you, he was going over the sideline going, can't do it.
Yeah. And he most certainly could not.